Parliament, they had the support for having, or including Indigenous or First Nations people in the Constitution has great support. But then the voice itself, the voice itself has significant support issues right now. Do you concede that you should have perhaps split both questions up? Why did you package it all in one place?
Well, the Parliament did that. The Parliament did that, and there were no amendments to it. And I make this point. No amendments were moved in the Senate. There were no votes in the Senate on this, or indeed the process that occurred was very clear. But it's a process that led up to 2017, where First Nations people gathered at Uluru and said that they wanted constitutional recognition that was spoken about since the last century under the Howard government. And the form they wanted was an advisory group, a voice that could be listened to about matters that directly affect them. The voice is just the means to the end. The end is closing the gap on education outcomes, on health, on housing, on incarceration rates. We have in this country an 8-year life expectancy gap between Indigenous and non-Indigenous Australians. We need to do better. We have more chance of if you're a young Indigenous male, more chance of going to jail than going to university. We need to do better. And more than, you are more than twice as likely to take your own life if you are an Indigenous person than a non-Indigenous person. I'll make this point about the voice as well, that there are some who are now saying had the opportunity and the almost decade they were in government to legislate on the voice, who are now saying they want it to be legislated rather than in the Constitution. Putting in the Constitution doesn't detail the operations and structure and functions of the voice. That's very clear from the third part of what's put forward. But it seems to me there's an inconsistency there that was pointed out in an article by Chris Kenny today in The Australian, that if you say that it's okay to legislate it, that is what is going to happen. The details will be legislated after the referendum, with a successful referendum later this year.